Well, hi, guess where I'm at today again? Micro Center here in the store nearest my home office. And they're gonna let me take a look at some of the stuff they have set up for back to the school. I know it's kind of close now, but some people still may be trying to shop around, especially with the Labor Day sales coming up. Take a look and we'll see how it all pans out, okay?
Hey everybody, I'm Nelson from Micro Center. So this is your one-stop shop here. Just build your own PC, so you can actually build your own PC if there's any kind of parts you're looking for. We have our associates who are always extremely knowledgeable. They can find you RAM, they can find you storage, they can find you motherboards, CPUs, and anything in between. So let's have a look.
Sure.
So starting right over here, you'll find most of our storage devices where there comes in an M.2 variety or an SSD variety. So we have everything you could possibly need.
Yeah, M.2 is the way to go these days. I mean,
absolutely.
I can't remember buying something else except for my server.
Absolutely. And right now I think we're at generation 5, so the speeds are just ever so quickly increasing. So it's almost hard to keep up with.
Yeah, I haven't tried one of those yet. I have to get myself a motherboard that supports it.
Yeah, I was going to say I'm still running generation 4, but
it
they're
runs
also
pretty good.
Absolutely. Over here, we have more also traditional hard drives, because even so, without also your PC needs, we also have security camera needs. Or if you want to build a NAS or a network area storage device, then we have all the hard drives necessary for that as well. All right, so moving right down here, we also have motherboards galore of all different types, of all different brands from MSI.
Yeah, I bought many of them here.
Absolutely.
My most recent one, unfortunately, you didn't have it in stock when I was looking to build my newest creator build at ASUS, the ProArt.
ProArt was when it first released, it was incredibly popular. Especially, it was one of the more sought after 14th gen Intel CPUs.
It has built on it a lot of I/O, which is what a creator one happens to be.
Tons of I/O, yeah, definitely one of our better motherboards. And plus, it's got built-in Wi-Fi 6. It's definitely hefty. It's a
10 gig, 10 gig networking, and a 2.5.
Absolutely, it's one of our more powerful MOBOs for sure. This one actually, this Asus as well, is also right in between the two. I'd say
Asus has been under a lot of flack lately. But
they have been under a lot of flack lately. They look like they're trying to remedy the situation and make things right with the customers. I mean, they have been very open and transparent. Coming down here too, we also have a water cooling a water cool section for hard tubing or soft tubing, regardless of whichever is your flavor. We have both fittings for both hard tubing and soft tubing, so you can get your bar
that's
variety.
My next build is going to be hard tubing.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge water cooler.
Oh, you have done a few of those?
I have, yeah. That's one of my fortes actually.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I mean, I do a monthly pilgrimage to the store.
Oh, that's great.
And I always like to see what new cases are out there.
Oh yeah, we actually have some really nice ones too.
They're new. Any new ones around here?
There's a couple of new NZXTs actually. I would say they're not so new. I would say like not new. Like I would say within like the recent months or so. As always, we carry Lees and NZXTs, and also a lot of all the popular fish tank type looks of like the height cases of like the Y40s and the Y60s. These are all very, very popular cases. I would say within the last couple months, these have definitely become like one of the more interesting staples of like PC building, of this open glass fish tank look, which is definitely getting more popular over time. But if you want to step over here, we actually do have probably what's becoming, I would say, even more of a more popular staple is these really large fish tanky looks of like this NZXT H9 Flow.
Wow.
Which has so much room to build. A lot of real estate actually right back here, so you don't have to be a wire management champion or cable management champion. You're gonna get like some of the best and easiest ways to actually manage your cables without being so much of a mess and making it lightning quick.
I always worry about cooling though. That's a big thing for me, you know.
Absolutely, I would recommend, these are great cases for cooling, and the fact that the minimal fans are giving it more of an aesthetic to give your color a little bit more pop. Especially like something like this with a little bit of more of like almost like a tinted window look.
Do these come with those lights?
Some of them do and some of them don't. Like these particular, these do not.
Okay.
We just had them on a demo just to show off because, but I will say that all the products that are in this case are on Lee. The AIO and the fans and the unit fans, they're all actually made by the same manufacturer.
Okay, I've used them a couple of times.
They are very, very nice.
My streaming computer, this Corsair.
Wonderful case, the 400D airflow. Yeah, that one's one of the best, I would say.
Yes.
Aesthetically, airflow wise, it gives so much great performance.
In white too.
Yeah, and it comes in multiple colors.
Now this one here is my new build.
Yeah, that one's really, really nice.
That's going to be water cooled.
I actually just did a 10,000D with the double barn doors, and it's actually a double water cooled. Actually, it was 2 reservoirs, 2 pumps.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, everything was interchanging, kind of interlocked.
Wow.
Yeah, so even continuing on with cases, we also have quite an array of even more artisan type cases that I like to call, like something if you're interested in more of maybe a vertical ITX build. Instead of something that's a little bit more wide, you can have something that's a little bit more tall nowadays. Something that wasn't kind of available, I would say, a few years ago.
Yeah, it's always changing.
It's always ever changing. And then you have something like this that's, if you're into a little bit more, maybe have your PC look like more like a piece of furniture, and you have this nice wood grain, a little bit of gold look, then I would definitely check out some of the fractional designs, because they've definitely come out with a lot of different new innovative type of designs, kind of taking what we've already known and maybe almost reinventing the wheel a little.
Yeah, the wood grain, it looks pretty interesting. I was looking at that for a future build, maybe my next AMD build. They tend to alternate. I tend
Absolutely.
To go AMD,
and one of the beautiful
Intel.
things about these fractional cases, actually, that I actually like, that I wanted to show you, is actually it's already got the vertical mounting plate, so you even can mount your GPU pretty much vertically right off the bat.
Oh, okay.
Which is
I've never
nice.
tried that.
It's actually pretty nice. I mean, I would say it's more of an aesthetic thing, because as far as performance-wise, you're not going to get too much of a difference in performance mounting your GPU vertical or horizontal, either way.
Right.
But moving right along, we also have like something like this tremendous tower too, that's also in that same wheelhouse of being a fish tank, I would say, kind of look. And it's a little difficult to open, but
that's okay.
I guess that's not a bad thing. But you also have a nice I/O right in the front, which makes it really, really simple to plug any kind of other peripherals right away.
Yeah.
But moving right along too, we also have our all-in-one coolers, which AIOs are a wonderful solution, especially if you're feeling a little nervous on maybe jumping into water cooling, but you know you want to water cool your PC because it's just going to give you a much better performance overall for your CPU's lifespan.
Most of mine are water cooled with AIOs.
Yes, AIOs is definitely a one and done solution for water cooling without having to get kind of your hands dirty, but also kind of dip your toes into a little bit of water
You do
cooling.
have to watch out though which ones you get.
Absolutely.
I found, because I've had some that the quality just wasn't there, and they started causing problems pretty early in their
Absolutely.
lifespan.
I'd say a lot of them, one of the things that I've noticed with a lot of AIOs that they suffer from, some of them, depending on their design, the pumps are inside of the block,
right.
Whereas some of them might be kind of closer to where the tubing or like meets the radiators. I would say typically any kind of AIO kind of lasts anywhere between 3 to 5 years. So you're typically good, you want to kind of check your fluids to make sure it doesn't evaporate or anything like that.
To the custom.
Yeah, and then over here, of course, we're getting over into the custom tubing, whether it be flexible primo tubing,
yeah.
Or if you wanted to go with something more of like an acrylic or a hard tubing that's not so easy, a little flexible, but a little bit more involved.
The one I'm working on will be primarily hard.
Oh yeah.
But I'll be some flex tubing to do filling and clearing. And
yes,
cleaning.
I use flexible tubing. I also make my own, I actually, when I'm just kind of filling it, but for the most part, I've done a lot of builds that use acrylic tubing or even PETG, which is also a nice material for cutting on hard tubing, because one of the things you would just need is going to be something like just a saw and is a little bit of a heat gun and what's known as a mandrel and also some bending tools.
Yeah, that's the whole kit, right?
And yes, the specific hard tubing kit by Thermaltake is actually an incredible kit. It actually gives you absolutely everything you would need to get right into hard tubing. Or it would be something like this, another rigid tubing kit, very similar to the one I just showed you.
Right.
But yeah, and then you have your radiators, which come in all different flavors, whether it be the 420, a 360, a 280, or a 240, depending on your fan arrangements and how you want it to.
Size of the case, too. Yeah.
Also, yes, I was just going to recommend that, right, of course, because a 480 radiator like this, I would say is probably not going to fit in every case.
No. So I wanted a very full-size one.
And here's actually a nice, pretty much a good diagram right here from EK that's pretty much showing off a little bit of some of their water-cooled parts, some of their Velocity 2 water blocks, and also some of their pumps.
EK, yeah. It's they had some issue too, though, didn't they?
100%, yeah. I was just going to say, EK definitely was just under fire recently because of a lot of their parts, and they weren't paying their employees, from what I understand.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not paying? Oh, that'll.
They were an international company that, from what I understand, wasn't paying their employees enough. And so we actually have an American branch of EKWB opposed to like the European branch, because it is a European company.
Right.
So now that it looks like they're actually paying their employees, hopefully we'll get some better stuff from EK. But then moving right along too, you can even find some of EK's water blocks, some of their distro or distribution plates. The same thing with, as you can see, the Lee and Lee version of a GPU distribution plate too.
Well, that won't be in my next build. The GPU, I got myself a 4090.
Oh, beautiful.
Founders Edition.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah,
it's a nice one. So I hate to try to take that apart.
I don't blame you. I know. Having it take and then just you're like, okay.
This is a good one. Looks pretty as it is.
Now we're gonna just cover it in plexiglass. No, I do love the 4090 too. It's a very good look, and it's when you can actually water block them. There is quite a good selection out there of GPU water blocks out there for the 4090s. But yeah, coming right back again to some of the motherboards as well, which is some of the Aurora's boards, which are in between of like the ROG like quality level, because they're very, very, very nice motherboards as well. Definitely the Z700 series type.
Some of these water blocks are really something.
Oh, I was just going to mention that to you, Sarah. Yeah, these new water blocks are actually the XC7s from Corsair, opposed to the HD5s that they had earlier. These actually now offer and boast a nice digital display where you can actually see your temperatures from a glance, and it's very, very large. Also offering in two varieties of white and black, which you can get any kind of crazy with the aesthetics too, because it's also RGB.
Well, very good, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
And you got a selection of power supplies here.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And the power supplies are ever changing also. And of course, from a generation before us that were more used to the 650s and the 700s, now it seems that at 1000 seems to be the standard.
The minimum, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I highly recommend it because, we, as an evolving culture, we're just constantly, PCs are getting stronger, they're getting more powerful, there's more I/O, there's more things we can plug in, more things we can add to make and
I've done a couple of videos on power supplies in general. The problem with getting one too big is you start losing some of the efficiency.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
that's very, very true.
That's a problem because you have the duty cycle of the transformers that are in there, and they expect to be within a range of power draw.
I love that you said that. That's super true. Yes,
if you don't draw enough, from the power supply, it gets very inefficient.
It's very true. You got to definitely. Buying a power supply, a lot of people think is not one of the more important aspects of their build, when in general, it's actually probably one of the more important things in your build.
Yes.
Because if you don't actually buy the correct power supply, whether it's actual wattage rating or some of maybe of its standard of it's gold, like a gold over a bronze.
Right.
Because I've get that question a lot, like, what's the difference between a bronze and a gold? Well, I would say durability, and definitely as far as connectability, definitely the gold standard is the way to rock, no matter what.
It's also going to be more efficient, has higher quality components in it.
Exactly right, because I do see Corsair is definitely one of the few companies right now that's actually taking the initiative to go the platinum route. Whereas a lot of other companies are just kind of sticking with gold as being the standard, bronze being on the low end.
Right, that's a small form factor one there. Right?
Absolutely. So yeah, this is definitely a fully modular form factor, an SF, so it's really tiny, usually more designed for ITX type builds.
Yeah, my new server that I'm building.
Oh, nice.
NAS server with possibly putting in a security server into it as well.
That's beautiful. Yeah, I was actually thinking about, I just watched a video on someone who was building a Raspberry Pi NAS, using a Raspberry Pi 5 to build a full-fledged network area storage, which is incredible with as far as price goes. Pretty interesting stuff. But yeah, and then we also have our power specs, which is always a classic, because you can get those in a fully modular or in a semi-modular to save yourself a little bit of money, but also get some heavy performance for a lot less money.
Micro Center tends to have a lot of those, right?
Absolutely. Micro Center is filled with a lot of variety in different brands, just so you can kind of, work your budget out. So if, you're coming into Micro Center and you're looking for a build and you're looking for maybe some parts, definitely take a look around, because you could find something maybe in the same wattage or the same variety or the same storage size for a lot lesser price than you would from our other competitors. All right, so this is probably, I would say, every PC gamer's favorite spot of our store, I would say, because for the most part, coming into this part is almost heaven to a lot of us. So over here, you're gonna have all of your AMD and your NVIDIA varieties right here. So starting from 4090 and onward, you'll have every type of NVIDIA card you could possibly think of in our store, along with, on the other side, starting from 7900 and onward, you're gonna find pretty much every AMD card you could possibly think of. So if you're a Radeon guy, whether being Team Red or Gal, or if you're on Team Green or NVIDIA, well, this is definitely the one-stop shop for all that.
Yeah, I spent, back when the 3000 series first came out, I have several videos on it.
Oh,
Spent
yeah.
a lot of time out in front of this building.
Oh, yeah.
Overnight.
That's great, man.
Trying to get one.
Hell yeah, absolutely. I remember that when that also happened. It was kind of crazy, like the lines for people and just the prices. The silicone prices went through the roof. So then, everybody, and I remember actually around that time too, because I was one of the few that were not an NVIDIA person. I was more of a Radeon guy, and I actually bought a 6900 XT, I remember, for I think $1,200. And if you look at the MSRP now currently, it's about half the price. So
yes.
it was pretty painful.
Especially the ones that are built on AIO.
Oh yeah, forget about it. Oh yeah, and the one I originally bought too is actually like a water-cooled one, so it was up there. It was a problem. But again, now the wonderful thing about GPUs though, that GPUs since 2020, prices have normalized back to what they pretty much were. If not, they're a little bit high, but I wouldn't say they are, because what we've been getting lately over the years is a lot more performance boost compared to what we could say about, I would say, 5 years ago. They've come a long way, and then even graphics cards are just making headway every single day. Intel has definitely made a splash over the time, and honestly, I gotta say that their GPUs are actually potentially in like a very good demographic for people who don't have a lot of money but want to get some pretty premium gaming. Well, then I would highly recommend something like the Intel Arcs, whether it be a Sparkle or an Arc 750, which is definitely going to be a good card for a lot less money, and you're definitely going to get a lot of bang for your buck.
You guys have a lot of used ones too that could be a good deal, right?
Absolutely. I was just going to mention that to you. So not too long ago, the company actually rolled out a new program where you can actually sell back your GPUs. So if you purchased a GPU from Micro Center within the last 2 years, or I believe it's actually 3 or more, you can actually then, you probably should check your email because you might have already gotten a quote from Micro Center asking you and telling you if you'd like to return your GPU and trade it in with a cash denomination value of a gift card value for a new GPU.
Does that cover any of the brands?
That covers any of the brands.
Intel Arc or NVIDIA or
Yes, sir.
AMD?
Absolutely. It covers any brand. So if you purchased a GPU within our system, within any of our stores around the U.S. within the last 3 years, chances are you probably got an email giving you a rate quote for your GPU to trade it in, so you can then maybe purchase or buy another one.
These are some of the used ones here, right?
Yeah, I was just going to mention, right over here is what we like to call the cage. But the cage is also a great place because you can definitely save yourself a buck or two by coming over here and taking a gander around. You might even find a motherboard or a GPU that you might have been eyeing up a couple days ago, maybe on Amazon, maybe on our website. And in this cage, might hold actually a nice cheaper one for you
right.
without having to spend full price. And primarily, one of the things that we do here at Micro Center we pride ourselves on is checking absolutely all our computer parts to making sure that anything that goes in the cage is saved and is going to be nice in your own home if you decide to purchase one of our used products, of course.
Yeah, my current NAS server, I bought the motherboard here, an ASRock.
Oh yeah.
Small form factor, the ITX.
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
actually bought it right off of this shelf here.
I was just going to mention that shelf to you. So even further back, going back to the store, we have some of our other motherboards, and right on the shelf here you can find some other clearance motherboards, even some of like the nice Z varieties. So again, this is a very expensive board at its time, but you can get it for about a quarter of the price. Sometimes it's just because people buy them and they're just not sure how to use them, or sometimes they just think they need it and they don't, and they return it, and hey, that's, you know what they say, one man's trash is another man's treasure.
I spent a little time here.
Absolutely. This is definitely one of my favorite places here to always take a look, and this is definitely a spot, if you do come down to our store, that you definitely want to check daily, because this stock, and just like the cage I mentioned, including with the GPUs, are changing ever so daily, all the time, by the hours, because some people come, some people sell, and then it's an everyday thing here, 7 days a week here.
Well, thank you.
Of course.
Okay, now we're talking to Joe. He's going to show us some of the back-to-school and pre-built equipment that Micro Center has here.
Hi, I'm Joe. I just wanted to showcase some of the computers we have going on for the back-to-school specials we have. If you'll follow me. So depending on a person's budget, we have a couple of computers in the mid-tier range. We have an i7 computer and an i5 computer. The i7 here is for $799 currently. Has a terabyte of storage, 16 gigabytes of RAM, a little bit of room for expansion. This computer here for $649 currently It's an i5, 16 gigs of RAM with a 512 gig storage. Generally, i5 is more than enough for most schoolwork, but if you want to have a little bit of extra oomph, a little bit of extra lifespan for it, the i7 is a very nice way to go.
Yep. The extra cores help.
On the somewhat higher end, though, we have our pre-built computers.
Wow.
This is the power spec with the Ryzen 7 inside, 32 gigs of RAM, a 2 terabyte hard drive, and a RTX 4070. Quite a room for expansion, quite a room for lifespan. You'll be able to play pretty much every game out there on the market. And if you ever need to change your capabilities, you definitely have the possibilities with that.
Wow, what brand 4070 is it?
That
You know?
one, Asus.
Asus, okay. Looks good.
All the rest of these computers going up in budget. So if there's a higher capabilities that you wanted, water cooling.
Is that a pink one there?
That is a pink power spec from Lee and Lee.
My granddaughter would love that. We recently built her one that was pink, a smaller one, of course. Not that powerful. She doesn't even have a GPU in it. I tell my look for a future.
This one actually is a i7 14700, a 32 gig of RAM with a 2 terabyte solid state, and a 4070 Super also,
Wow.
with everything color coordinated also.
Okay, sounds good.
On the laptop side, depending on where one wants to go, honestly, some from a little bit of every company. We have HP, we have Dell, we have Lenovo, Acer, Asus, two of the ones I wanted to showcase.
Okay.
Similar to what we were on the other side, we have a Ryzen 7 with 16 gigs of RAM, a terabyte hard drive, and we have an i7. Same capability, same hard drive, same RAM,
Wow.
just Intel versus AMD.
We're talking what, that's 719 there?
Correct.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Normal price $1,000.
Here's 669. This is just for back to school or
These are some of our
weekend?
these are some of our back to school promotions.
I see.
And then there is, if you want a little bit on the gaming side though,
Oh, the higher end stuff.
I don't want to say a budget level for gaming, but economical, good pricing, Ryzen 7 with a 4060 inside, a terabyte of storage, and 16 gigs of RAM.
My last laptop, which I use for doing content creation and editing when I'm traveling, I got it here. That one was an HP Omen.
That would be something like this.
Yeah, it came with a very powerful one.
i7.
i7. It had
32
2
gigs.
terabytes, 32 gig.
This is a 1 terabyte, so slightly lower.
Yeah. I plan on upgrading it too because it has an extra M2 slot in it. So I'll be able to add another, maybe 4 gig to it. I like storage.
Oh, nothing's wrong with that.
Yeah.
But with all these computers, there's a computer for everybody. If you want to go higher end, low end, mid tier, there's something for everybody. Come into the store, talk to our associates. We're here to help out. We're here to make sure you get the right computer for what you need.
Yeah, I was telling Nelson that there's so many of my viewers that are not near a Micro Center. And that's, they're very jealous.
We did just open up a new store in Miami.
Oh, Miami now. Okay, I know the one that was in, was it Charlotte, North Carolina? That's the nearest one to my son.
They just had the grand opening for Miami last week.
Okay, that's good to know.
Are there any other computers I could interest you in today?
I don't think so. I think you've covered the gamut of the pre-built units that could be very helpful for back to school or doing business, right? Either way.
Back to school, for business, both of them occupy a very similar niche.
Well, Joe, I thank you so much.
Pleasure to help out.
Glad you were able to show me around here today.
Anytime.
Thank you.